Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lynette here. Hexagon Stitches from, cloudy and overcast Brisbane, not so sunny today. And I have a special little guest to introduce you to today. Here he is. Look at this little fella. This is Goose. It was probably October, November, December, January. He's about 3.5 months old. He's a bit sleepy this morning. So technically he belongs to the family upstairs, but they're all out today. So when they're all out, he comes and visits me. He's pretty snoozy this morning. I've interrupted his snooze, but I thought you'd like to see him. His name is Goose because he's after a Captain Marvel movie, which I haven't seen, but they've shown me snippets. And in that Captain Marvel movie, there's an orange ginger cat called Goose who can turn into a flurkin. Now, the funniest thing was I went to my knitting group the other day and we were talking about it, and I said, his name's Goose. And most people go, what? Anyway, Liz, my friend there, said, you mean Goose Flurkin? He's going. Have you said goodbye? Say goodbye. Yep, you go. Off you go. And I said, oh, yes, you're the first person I've met who's known about Goose Flurkin. Well, the funny thing is her daughter-in-law has actually got a kitten that they have called Goose Flurkin. Is almost identical to our Goose and just 2 weeks younger. So it's amazing. Anyway, he's a delight to have around. He's taken himself over to my back door window where he likes to sit and watch out because he's an indoor cat. So that's my lovely little Goose. Okay, on to the cross-stitch stuff. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in today to start with, yes, but also for those who attended the Shindig last weekend. Was that just last weekend? Yes. It went quite well, so thank you for those who left some lovely comments. That was very nice. Okay, so down to what I've been doing. I am taking a leaf out of Robin Birdseye Stitches book and trying to do a floss tube each week. Let's see how it goes. I was going to do it on Mondays. Monday didn't work, but today I had Goose, so that worked out really well. So I've got a couple of finishes. First one is Stitch, and my youngest granddaughter loves Stitch, and she was very excited when I actually decided I needed some finishes, and I pulled this out and finished it. So she's going to help me turn this into a little cushion, I think is the plan. So that's Stitch. That was a free pattern. I can't remember where I found it, somewhere on the internet. So I can't really give you any directions. And then I finished the lovely bird Globetrotter. This was so much fun to stitch. It's on an Opalescent Cascade, colour Cascade fabric. Don't know what colour it is because it's a leftover from something else, but look, I have enough to do something else on here, or even a couple of little things. Talking about Cascade fabrics, she's coming across from Western Australia to Sydney in May, and she's coming to the suburb next to where my daughter lives in Sydney, so I'm going down to visit my daughter and go to the Colour Cascade stitching on the Saturday, which will be a lot of fun. And I know there's Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches is going because she lives very near there, and I believe Lisa from Paddock Layer Designs is going to be there as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got a few retreats this year that's going to be fun because I haven't actually been to an in-person retreat, so I'm looking forward to all of that. Okay, now why is stuff out of order? That's all right. I know why it's out of order. I've got things under different headings, so I'll just work through where things are. So stitch alongs. I've got the hat stitch along. So Maria Wales Newson. I started this, I think I mentioned it last time, on 46 count. That wasn't going to work, especially for the 1/1. I will enjoy stitching on that for something else, but when I realised it was 1/1, I thought that's not happening. So I went down to KoKo xstitch, the cross stitch shop near me, and I purchased Atomic Ranch. Have I written it down here? 36 Atomic Ranch Amber Waves. And I've only got a tiny start on it, and I will admit I'm struggling with this a bit. It's not, usually when I'm, you know, having a piece and it's not quite working for me, I get into it. Yeah, I don't know whether it's just that there was too much on in the first weeks of January, but I've done a bit because I bought everything. I bought the silks and everything for it, so I would like to do some more on that. So let's see how we go this month. And that's in my, sorry, my notes are up there. That's in my Leslie Tier cross stitch that I made into a project bag. I started the Fox and Rabbit cell. So it's going to go across here, and then down here an alphabet has come out. So I just thought I'd just have a play and see what I thought this year. I've got 3 Silks for You colours to mess with because the original had 3 colours. So I've got, let's start numerically, PR 69, PR 69, PR 109, and PR 129. And I've started it with this one. I think, I don't know. The next part's we'll use a different colour. More to be advised when I get to it. Anyway, I just started a little bit. I'm going to do some of the alphabet and then I'll see how I go. Because you know, you say stitch along and I'm in, especially a mystery stitch along, and then I ran out of steam. So other cells I've been working on is the HAED cell, the Festive Mandala, and the Christmas Historische Stickmuster, and they're going to come up further on in the program. Okay, so let's do Magazine Monthly Challenge February Acrostic. The theme for this February is Folklore, so I decided to pull out the Fisher King because that's obviously folklore. And my challenge for myself for this was to complete page 1, which is just in here. And I'm not far off. I can't wait to do this fella here. The acrostic is Cascade, and for one of the K's, I obviously Fisher King. So this will come out for one of the K's in the acrostic as well. Yeah, that's going to be fun. It is fun. It's not going to be fun. It is fun. And so this is just about the bottom of the page, and in here. So there's a couple of little tops of things going in here. Yep, the top of, I think the top of this is in, and I think this bit here, so page, yeah, it goes to here because this has got a crown. I also thought that worked with King. So I think the page 1's about there. So I've been working on that because I wasn't sure what to work on. I thought, well, let's just start at the top of my acrostic and just work my way down. And that's still in a plastic bag. So then, so that's for the theme, folklore, and one of the K's. And the other K, I'm using alliteration here, because country companions, the wedding, of course, country begins with C, but it's a K sound, so. And I want to finish this for my daughter's wedding it's the 4th of July for you Americans. She's getting married on Independence Day. And I have made progress up in here, and it's still in the hoop with needle and thread. So I was pleased to get back into this blending, and I've done a lot of this blending stuff here. There's a bit more to come down here and still some more on the other side. So my February goal is to finish the groom. I'm sort of, it's just got his boots. Yeah, it's just this bit here. I'm not doing all the sky. Am I doing the green? I'm not even sure if I'm doing the trees around it, we'll see. But I will do this grey under here. So this was out of June 2008. It's got on here, it says July. But the magazine is actually Cross Stitcher from June 2008. Yeah, their magazines come out way before. Yeah, I don't understand their dating. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So that's that one. And I quite enjoyed it when I got stuck into it. It was quite good, even though there's a lot of white at the moment. I was going to tell a story about something. Can't remember which project it is. Maybe it'll come up as we go along. I'm going to the Mirabilia retreat here in Brisbane in March, and I want to start this. I've had this for ages, and for ages I've been talking about, I've got an Alice box full of Alice projects, and maybe if I get going this year we might actually go through my Alice box. So my next decision, I've even got, I was quite surprised, I knew I had the pattern, and when I pulled it out I realised I've got threads, beads, and I even had a piece of fabric, which was this one. I know it's in the bag, but so this one was even in there. So it was all kitted up, but I decided I prefer to do a Cascade fabric. So I've got this one, threading. It's a bit darker than it's showing up. And I've also got this one. This one might, yeah, I think this, looking on camera, this looks like the way to go. So I might do that one. And they're both opalescent. I just decided I wanted to do it on opalescent. And what count have I got myself here? 32 count because of the beading. That's right. Yep, so they're the three fabrics, but I'm pretty sure I'll do that top one. I bought two because, you know, it's hard to tell online. Yep, that top one. That's the one. Thank you for helping me decide that. And that is living in my We Are All Mad Here bag. With, was this Tilda? I can't remember who the line is from, but yeah, that was fun. So that is Alice. She has to be started this month and get some progress on it. So my plan is, I think to have it set up so at the retreat I can work on these fill-in bits. That's the theory anyway. Cascade has a Z in it. Z is so much fun finding a project. I decided if we're doing the HAED cell, we have to be zealously stitching it. So I'm doing the HAED cell and I'm zealously stitching it. It's so cute. Can't wait to get to the birds, but I'm eating my veggies first. And I must admit, this hasn't had the attention it got earlier in the year. So I'll need to get back to that. And what have I got down here? I've just got 1,000 stitches, which is nothing in a HAED. But I am quite enjoying that. Then we get the next K, which was the Fisher King, and then my new start, and because this is in my perseverance bag, because I have to persevere. Once I get into the HAEDs, I really enjoy them. So then I had discovered, I had signed up for the Christmas market by Country Cottage Needleworks, with a stitch in time. I sort of got an invoice and I go, oh, I did sign up for that, okay. So, and I'm really enjoying this, and I have just got a notification that part 2 is in the mail. We're way behind getting them, but that's all right, I don't mind. So I've been working across the banner and down the side, because the next part will come out in this corner. And I thought, well, at least if I've got this done, I can start this. So my plan is to start each part as it comes out, regardless of whether the previous one is finished, and that, which means that I have to work across each part so I can start the next part. So that gives me a bit of direction. So I will be working more on that, but I can start this part now because it's just got to have some red berries or something in this vine. This is on a 20 count Aida, and I should know what colour, but I can't remember. That's the same as my HAED cell. My HAED cell's also on the 20 count. I love 22 count, but I've been enjoying 20 count. And someone asked me why I was bothering to have a darker colour for this, you know, when it's full coverage. But I thought this colour would be good with these colours. It could give a good base for it rather than having maybe white popping through a bit. What will happen when we get to the owl, we're backtracking here, aren't I? Up here we'll have to see, but hopefully the white will look okay. But I thought that was a good colour. And I'm enjoying stitching on it, and that's the most important thing. So that's Magazine Monthly Challenge. Oh, and then they've decided to have a pop-up challenge. Just pulling over my other pile here. Excuse me while I have a glass. So Robin had, I've got it here, February fill-in, and February is spelt with a PH because it's a game around Groundhog Day, Punxsutawney Phil. This is where the story comes in. Now I remember. So when Robin posted in the group and she said, you know, if the groundhog sees his shadow, we're going to stitch one project. If he doesn't see his shadow, we're going to stitch another project. So we had to pick 2 projects. And I said, well, you're going to let us know whether he sees his shadow or not, because my sum total of knowledge about groundhog is the movie Groundhog Day. And it sticks in my mind because this, you know, Groundhog Day is last century. My husband and I decided to celebrate our wedding anniversary. We lived in the country. We were going to go into the city, going to watch a movie, and then we were going to go out for dinner. And the movie we were going to watch was Groundhog Day. Now, my husband is not an early bird, but to get to this, did I say he was doing a course the week before? Sorry if I didn't. To do this course, he had to get up at 6:30 every morning, and he is not a morning person. And if you know the movie, the clock clicks over at 6:30 every morning as Bill Murray relives Groundhog Day. And we were in Stitches in the back of the theatre, and people had no idea what we were laughing at. But every time that clock clicked over, it was like... Anyway, that's my story about Groundhog Day movie, and that's all I know. And then we went out to dinner at the Windsor Hotel in Melbourne, and it's a very, very nice hotel. And because for me it's part of the memory, you're getting this part of the story as well. So it was just my husband and I on one table, but on the next table over there was a party of about 8 or 10. It was a big round table, and we're sitting there waiting for the food to come out. And then next minute the waiter comes out, waiters come out for this other table. And they come out and the food is on a silver platter with a silver dome over it. And they put one in front of every person, and then someone must have nodded in the waiter, and next minute they all took the silver covers off at once to display the food. And they did it for us too, but it was only 2 of us, but the big table. Very classy restaurant in Melbourne, and it's a hotel, you can stay there, but it's old time and beautiful. Anyway, that's all because of Robin deciding to have February fill-in. And what am I doing for it? Because the shadow was seen apparently, and you poor guys over there are having more winter. I'm working on this good company that I started on a whim last year when I was wanting to do a plum street, but I thought I'd do a small one. Yes, so that's what I'm working on for February fill-in. We've got to do 500 stitches in the next week. So thanks, Robin, for the fun. Right, and then it was Carolyn Zook. It's the next culprit here in my cross-stitch journey. talking about stitching the Olympics, and Naptime Stitches doing it, so you can look it up on Instagram on Naptime Stitcher, and she sends you to a link with a spreadsheet and everything. So I decided why not, because you know I've got all the time in the world. So when you get a planner thing like this and you fill in the prompts, and then you also get a calendar. So I'm not going to be specifically about any of the prompts, but I'm just going to show you the projects that I haven't already shown you that I'm going to add to this, because some of them are already in there. So Festive Mandala by Thread the Needle Designs. This was a stitch along before Christmas, and I'm working on this. So the other day I put in more of the black outline here. So I think what I'd like to do is get the black outline finished, and this is a great one to take to stitching because I can just fill it in. And this is also 20 count Aida. It's a different colour, but it's 20 count. Stitching Mummy's one is gorgeous because she's got a sparkly fabric which is perfect for this. So that's Festive Mandala. I think you had to do something to do with winter or snow, and I thought, well, why not pull out the, that way up, the Historische Stickmuster Christmas sale, which, because I was working on the Festive Mandala and other stuff, it didn't get a lot of work, but it's got all the whites, and I'm doing it in the silks. I bought the silks for it, and the fabric is Royal Queen 36 count from Paddock Lane Designs. So since I bought silks and fabric for it, and not just something out of my stash, this has to be worked on. But I have enjoyed it when I've been doing it. So I've got one more sampler of Shah. Where is it? Here. It was got a bit out of order when I was putting all this together. So another one on there, I think had to have something with lines or patterns or something. So, oh, and I know another prompt was enabled by someone else. Well, it was Carolyn and Zealously Stitch and Stitching Mummy Sarah who got me on this bandwagon. They're not doing this one, they're doing the sampler au fleur, the flower one, but I decided I wanted to do the cat one. And I used this for Bringo or AB Singer. AB Singer I used this one for. So I thought I'd pull that out because it's just fun to stitch on, and I can probably start working towards a finish maybe. Yeah, it's probably a lot more there than I think, but anyway, that's it. That's on a few prompts for the Stitching the Olympics. Sorry, just thinking. So then I watched Robin. Yes, just yesterday I was watching Robin when she talked about Punxsutawney Phil and stuff, and she showed her Christmas at Hawkrun Hollow. And I decided, yes, I've been wanting to stitch on this, so I'm going to get it out. And then Jill Smith, who's also in, she's the Pyjama Stitcher, she also mentioned that she had it, and we pulled them out and showed our photos. And Jill and I are almost identical place, surprisingly enough. Both finished the first block and a tiny start on the big mountain. So Friends of Hawkrun Hollow is a group that Carolyn Zealously Stitch started ages and ages ago because she was working on a lot of the hook runs. So we're all now going to post our progress in there and see how we all go. Yeah, it's a big house. So I've done half of that roof, a little bit of this roof and the bird. So, and I think last time I showed this, I was still debating what white to use, and the two whites are still sitting in here, working out what, that's just another one in one of these plastics. Anyway, so that was a bit of a side note fun, and I am doing Christmas Whip Go this year. So that is on my Whip Go board. So it will also come out for Whip Go. So while we're talking about Whip Go, 4 numbers have been called. The first 2 was Skating Santa by Kathy Barrick and Satsuma Street Perfect Presents, which is the one with the cat, stocking with the cats. So they're both stockings. Haven't touched them. Then this month, which is called Another Stocking in Mine, and I know I talked about these last week, and this hasn't moved forward, but it was a fun start. With a needle minder, it's just Australian Christmas stamp, but it comes from Crafty Emily in the UK. And I did enjoy that. I just, like the rest of you, we haven't got enough time to start work on everything. This has now gone in this bag. And then the other call for February was Deck the Halls, which I purchased last year. And actually what I want to do with this, I want to stitch it, and I actually want to make a quilt border just like this. I mean, this is just sitting on a quilt. It's not actually, but I thought, oh, that could be fun. I love those colours. I love the reproduction muted colours. So that's also supposed to be started. So we will see as the month progresses what I actually get done. Then a couple of other random things. Then in August, I think, I'm going down to Hobart to stitch in time for their retreat, which has Beth Twist. Yes, Beth Twist. And so I've got his eyes on the sparrow started, and this mark over was for some Bringo or something when I marked out numbers, or that's what that's for. And I thought I really should work on this and get some of this done so I can take it down. Yeah. And then the last thing I've actually worked on was I did the Stitches So Beautiful challenge for January, and I managed to get 250 stitches in a week on this to meet the challenge. And just remembered I went to look at my emails before to see if I'd been emailed the pattern you win, but I got distracted and didn't do that. But I also enjoyed working on this, and I especially, it was nice to get down here out of the black and get some colour in it, which is, sorry, it's this, that's what that is, it's that there. So if I work across, I should be able to start some of that sign. But isn't a dress gorgeous? I thought a dress was really pretty. I like the hair, I like the colours, love mushrooms. So, ticked all the boxes when I saw that one come out, and I just bought it. So it would be nice to get some more on that. Maybe if there's a February challenge, I might do it out. I can do 250 stitches in an evening stitching, so it wasn't too hard to keep up with that. If I just thought, okay, tonight I'm just going to get my 250 stitches for the week in there. So that was January into February, because most of those things I worked on for Bringo as well, and I did manage to get a blackout finally at the end, which I didn't expect to get, because the shindig took a lot of time, which was fine. But things take time, and you've just got to go with the flow and do what you can do. So I was really, really pleased to be able to get Bringo finished and make some plans for February, and we'll see how we'll go, and we're just going to have fun with it. So if everything goes to plan, I will see you next week. Bye.